How's it going, guys? It is Jaku, and I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I got a new camera, so I'm starting to test that out right now. Doesn't look too bad, at least from where I'm looking at. But anyways, I wanted to this is kind of what I like to do pretty much instead right now of doing a ban list prediction video, because ban list prediction videos are just ridiculous. I prefer to do either a wish list or basically just kind of like my thoughts on the format. That's pretty much how I like to go about it, because at the end of the day, the prediction is always going to be the same thing. Konami is going to bend us all over backwards and they're going to screw us over with the format. But anyways, this is what I'm going to do. For my first video that I'm going to do, I'm going to go over like my thoughts on right now what is currently on the ban list, like actually in the ban section. Not like limited, semi-limited, anything like that. What's actually banned. And I'm going to go over each of the cards. I've kind of got like the list here, sort of, because I don't remember all the cards off the top of my head. And I'm just going to give my thoughts on whether or not they're appropriately banned, if they actually should stay on the ban list or not, or if the card is not justified being on the ban list anymore. Everybody's going to disagree with me. You know what? I don't give a crap. That's just my thoughts on it. So, for those of you who actually care to listen to what I have to say about this, and some of these cards I do actually have a good opinion on, then go ahead and stick around. But I'm going to get into it. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate right now the first four, since it's the first one. Burner, Lightning, Reactin, and Stream. The Dragon Rulers, like the little baby ones. They cannot come back. They give the deck too much synergy for dragons, and dragons just have to stay down now. For a long time. Next up on the list, Chaos Emperor Dragon. Not coming back, ever again. Cyberjar. Cards, too powerful. The fact that it pretty much just wipes the board out completely and it's a flip effect, it's just ridiculous. And it lets you keep the cards you draw. Cyberstein. You know what? OCG brought him back. We'll have to see how that works out. I personally think that he could come back to the TCG as well. I mean, there's enough effects to pretty much like stop him from going off. There's Effect Veiler, Breakthrough Skill, Venus Chain, a lot of effect negating stuff. And honestly, 5,000 life points is a hefty cost, so if you don't get it off, then you lose the game. It's a 50-50 shot. But I personally think that he can stay banned. I don't think that he really needs to come back at all. Other cards on the list, Dark Magician of Chaos, Demok. That card, I guess it could come back, but I don't know. I think it could give like a little bit more power to spellbooks than they already needed anyways. But the card itself is like really powerful. It lets you add back spell card, and it lets you basically banish whatever destroys. It's too good. Destiny Hero Disc Commander. That card can be spammed way too easily, and the draw 2 effect is just broken. So I really don't see this guy being able to come back, especially if he can be spammed very well, which he easily could be. I'm going to skip this card right now, and I'll come back to it later on towards the end of the video because I have personal feelings about it. Next card, Fiber Jar. No. That's a game winner. It's basically ridiculously overpowered. Fishboard Blaster. No more fish OTKs for us, please. We're done with that. Glow Up Bulb. The card has too much synergy with a lot of decks. Like, you can literally throw that card into any deck and you've got an instant level 1 tuner besides Effect Veiler. It's not like broken like Chaos Emperor Dragon or like anything like that, but it's just too powerful to like really be in the game right now as it is. Next up, Magical Scientist. Pretty much the same logic as Cyberstein, except the fact that he's only 1,000 points, so even less of a cost for pretty much a game-winning card. No, he can't come back either. I skipped one. Makiura the Destructor. Nope, FTK right behind there. Any card that starts off in FTK deserves to, like, not be in the game. Of course, for some reason, Exodia is still in the game, but oh well. Mind Master. Same thing. Starts in FTK pretty much with Mind Master. I'm sorry, Psychic players. I like Mind Master too. My friend Victor plays the deck, but he starts in FTK. That's really unfair. Rescue Cat. Synchro Cat is just, he had his days. Like, he sets off way too many combos, and honestly, like, The deck for X-Sabers, like he's the one that was abusing him the most. No, I really don't see that being a thing again. But it could be. Honestly, the card probably is on a similar level of not being nearly as broken. Sangan. I see him as being a floater. I think he's going to be on like the same level as like Monster Reborn and Heavy Storm, where he's just going to be floating in between formats eventually. Sinister Serpent. Get free pluses for days? I don't know. Sinister Serpent, I just don't feel like... I mean, for water, yeah, he would be really good for water. But... And maybe any deck that like discards a lot, but that's about it. Substitute. Same thing. Starts FTKs, and no Substitute for us. Tribe Infecting Virus. That card would have way too much synergy with Mermails as it is right now, and even in just generic decks, like just splash them into anything anti-meta is going to be too good. Victory Dragon. Match winners are always banned. No objection to that. Witch of the Black Forest. The reason I don't put her on the same level as Sangan is because she has a much wider range of monsters that she can search out than Sangan does. And that makes her a little bit more broken. Yatagarasu. That card can die in fire. Burn it, kill it with fire. I don't care. That card cannot come back. If that card comes back, I will instantly like quit every game where somebody's playing it. Thousand Eyes Restrict. As long as Metamorphosis stays banned, in my opinion, I don't care. That's all I really have to say about that one. Bryonak, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Not while Mermail is a thing. Darkstrike Fighter. FTKs. Goyo Guardian. Powerful, and the thing is, like, he's not that, like, super broken, but any card effect that steals monsters is really good in this game, and pretty much just they have to be hit. Trishula. Trishula's a 1-for-1 in my opinion. And honestly, it's a lot more fair than something like pretty much just Bryonak. I personally don't think that Trishula deserved to get banned the first time that he was banned, but you know what? We all tend to disagree. And 1 second. Just gotta do something quickly. Because I like the song a lot. Nope, not doing that. That'll work though. Next up on the list. Number 16, Shockmaster. If you get this guy off first turn and you call the right card against your opponent, if you're going up against a Prophecy player, you're going up against like a really trap-heavy deck, this card can steal matches. Shockmaster is just too good for a lot of cases. Wind-Up Carriers and Mighty. He doesn't necessarily start FTKs, but he pretty much gave like Wind-Ups that consistency that they needed to be like one of those top-tier decks that even still won YCS events after they got like so hardly hit on the ban list. That's it for monsters. Going on to spells. Brain Control. Same logic. Any card that can steal a monster for little to no cost is ridiculously overpowered in this game. And Brain Control is one of those cards that just pretty much meets that standard. Butterfly Dagger Elma. FTKs. Card Destruction. That card won World 2013 World Championship, and that card is just unfair in any deck that like really can abuse the hell out of that card. So I am honestly not that upset by having Card Destruction on here. Card of Safe Return. I would normally not have a problem with this card except for the fact that pretty much every deck special summons now. And a lot of decks do special summon around the graveyard. So just getting those free draws is going to be ridiculous. So I really don't think that he's going to have that card has a place in the format. Next up, Change of Heart. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, just moving on. Cold Wave. The card that comboed super well with this one was Rescue Cat. Because in X-Sabers, that pretty much just stole games. Because all they needed was their monster effects. That was it. And honestly, Cold Wave is just unfair in general against like monster-heavy decks. Confiscation. No. Hand advantage is really important in this game, and cards that take it away like Confiscation that easily, no. It would really make the game very unbalanced. Delinquent Duo. Even worse than Confiscation. That card is rightfully banned. Dimension Fusion. Pretty much sets up FTKs. It's like on a similar level to Return from the Different Dimension. That's how good that card is, and that's why it stays banned. Dragon Ravine. This card does not need to be banned. At 1, it's perfectly acceptable. I personally don't think that that card needed to get banned when it got banned. It was just dragon hate at that point. And honestly, dragons have been ruining too many decks in my opinion, so that card was just an unfortunate victim. Future Fusion. FTKs. It's a win condition for Chaos Dragon decks in any format. Gateway of the Six. The card is ridiculous. If 6-Ams open up with it turn 1, along with the nuts, they pretty much win. Like, there is very, very little that you can do against a 6-Am player who opens up with Gateway, 6-Am United, Dojo, and at least 2 6-Samurai monsters. Like, it's just, that card is way too good. Other cards that we have here. Giant Trunade. A lot more broken than Heavy Storm in my opinion. Does not need to come back for a good while in my opinion. Graceful Charity. Drawing 3 cards is still broken in any format, even if you discard 2. Harpy's Feather Duster. Nope. Heavy Storm. It's a card that flip-flops in formats. So, it's alright. Last Will. It's iffy, but the fact is like that so many decks pretty much just send monsters to the graveyard nowadays that like, yeah, I would plus off every single turn. Mass Driver. FTKs. Metamorphosis. That card is really, really good. I feel like if Metamorphosis and Thousand Eye Restrict are on the list, one of them can come back, but the other can't. Metamorphosis may go to 1 if Thousand Eye Restrict stays banned. But then again, there's a lot of powerful fusion monsters in this game that can easily be taken advantage of. Mirage of Nightmare. Draw 4 cards, then double Cyclone it, or just whatever, emergency provisions. You get to keep the 4 cards at the end of the turn. No thank you. We need to keep game as balanced as possible, even though it's already broken as hell. Monster Reborn. It's one of those flip-flop cards. It'll keep switching between formats, depending on the formats. Painful Choice. It sets up too many decks too easily. Pot of Avarice. It's a really good card. Like, you get to draw 2 cards off of it. It's basically a Pot of Greed just at the cost of recycling your monsters, which honestly is not bad. Recycle all your extra deck monsters, get 2 free draws. Pot of Greed. For the longest time, I honestly didn't think that this card would be bad if we brought it back to 1. But then I did a little bit more thinking about it, and I started to realize that whoever opens up with this card first is going to have even more plus advantage. And that's going to be really, really broken. Premature Burial. Too many cards that can set up combos with this. Like, this card would be absolutely ridiculous. If you combo this with something like Zephyros, you've instantly got an Exceed, and you still get to keep Premature Burial with it. There's a lot of things that you can do with this card. Raigeki. Nope. Snatch Steal. Nope. Spellbook of Judgment. That card was flawed in its design entirely. I don't know how that card was even able to make it like past the conference room when they were designing it. It needs a ban. It might come back to 1 one day just to like go ahead and get like spellbooks a little bit more power, but even 1, I would probably put that at similar advantage level to something like Gateway of the 6 for Samurais, because it just basically refills them for everything. But we'll see how that works out. Super Rejuvenation. I kind of don't think it needs to be banned, especially if it stays at 1. And now that dragons are pretty much like not a thing anymore, I mean, there's Heraldic Rulers, but honestly, like, I don't know. Once dragons settle down, maybe the card could come back. But until then, dragons are just going to be the main reason for it. Temple of the Kings. Same level as Makira the Destructor. The fact that you can activate traps first turn is going to just help you set up OTKs and FTKs. So, FTKs are just a no-no. Forceful Sentry. Pretty much like Confiscation and Delinquent Duo, just discard cards from your opponent's hands for nothing. It's unfair. Crush Card Virus. I hear a lot of people thinking that this card can actually come back. It's a really unfair card. Like, no matter what you do about it. But, who knows? Maybe. Maybe Konami will do something crazy, because when have they ever done something logical? Exchange of the Spirit. Fiber Jar. Exchange of the Spirit. Complete game changers, and FTK centered around those 2 cards. Imperial Order. Card's too powerful. At the cost of 700 life points, you can negate any spell card. That's unfair. Like, that is ridiculously unfair. Last turn. Too many decks pretty much just get an easy setup from this card. So, like, no, honestly, like, I don't think it needs to come back either. It's just ridiculous in my opinion. Return from a Different Dimension. We all pretty much experienced this card. This card was just way too overpowered for the level that it was at, and especially with Dragon Rulers being a thing. It just sets up OTKs like nothing. Ring of Destruction. It's a powerful card. Like, that literally can end games. I was at YCS San Diego. I lost one of my games due to this card, just for the fact that my opponent flipped it up against me when I was playing there. And yeah, it's just, if you were to actually use that in a deck appropriately, that would be even more unfair. Royal Oppression. Okay, I hear a lot of controversy over Royal Oppression, that people think that it can actually come back, and that it would make the format balanced. The card is not balanced. You can, like, let's say you're playing a Synchro player. They put in all their effort to make something like Quasar, you flip Royal Oppression, and you negate the summon of shooting Quasar Dragon. Your opponent put in all that work to actually, like, get their one win condition out, and just flipping one card and paying 800 life points, you stop the entire thing. It's just, it's a ridiculous concept in its entirety. I personally don't like Royal Oppression. I think that that's another one of those cards that just unfairly decides matches. And I know that there's a lot of players who disagree with me, but I'm just kind of like one of those that actually likes to go ahead and have the games play out. I'm not a fan of FTKs at all. They're stupid for the game. They really are bad for the game's health and all that. And this is just one of those cards that I feel like just promotes that entire concept. I'd much rather do away with FTKs, but Royal Oppression is just like... I personally don't like the card very much. I can see it coming back just because of the fact that it's not like one of those cards that like really is gonna like help you win the game directly, but at the same time, it's really powerful. Like, ridiculously powerful. That's my thoughts on it though. Self-destruct button. I cried tears of joy when I saw this card on the list because I was just like, thank you. Finally, Konami does one thing nice. No more fucking self-destruct trolling with us. I got pissed off every time I had to play that at tournaments and things like that. Sixth Sense. We all knew this card was going to get banned. It's been banned since like the beginning of time over in the OCG. That was no surprise to any of us. Next up, Solemn Judgment. At 1, I don't think at 1 it's that bad. When it was at 3, that card was ridiculous. At 1, it was okay. I think it could be another like format floater, like it can flip-flop every format, but I don't know. The card itself is very powerful. I'm personally never really been a big fan of the Solemn cards, that's just my thoughts on it, but I like Solemn Judgment for the fact that it's an indefinite amount and can negate a lot of things, more than just like summons, but everybody's gonna have their different opinions. Time Seal. Same thing as Yatagarasu. You can do a certain lock that'll basically prevent your opponent from ever being able to draw with this card, so it's rightfully banned. Again, trying to promote health for the game. Trap Dust Shoot. The card is pretty bad in late game, but if you open up that card first turn and you're able to get it off, that steals a lot of games. I remember when this card was legal and your opponent could just flip it up, look at your hand, and they would just take out one monster or something like that. This card is really unfair. I mean, it's a simple fact like that. But I think like it could go limited to 1, but I just feel like, you know what, it steals too many games if you actually open it up. There's a lot of cards on this list that if you just open them up like at the right time, or you open them up turn 1, then it pretty much like just gives you an unfair advantage over your opponent. This being one of those cards. And last card, Ultimate Offering. Ultimate Offering sets up FTKs, sets up OTKs, and the fact that you can use that in your battle phase, you can use that to basically intercept attacks. It's all around a really powerful card. And for decks that can really spam it, like Gadgets and Madolches, I remember those two being two really good decks that spam the card a lot. It's really powerful. Like, that's just the way that I see it. So I mean, as far as the overall list goes, I feel like a lot of these cards are rightfully in their place. I mean, like, a lot of these cards do have their justification to be on here. So I'm not too upset with the ban list right now, at least like cards that are currently banned. Again, couple cards that I think could come off of it. Going back through it, just trying to get through it again. Sangan could be a floater. Tribe Infecting Virus could be a floater. Trishula could be a floater for this. Dragon Ravine, I don't even think it should be on there, personally. Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn are always going to be floater cards. They can come back and forth. As far as traps go, I really only think that for the traps it's reasonable to believe that maybe it could just be something like Solemn Judgment and Ultimate Offering. That's really all I think, though, that would be really fair from the list. Now onto the one card on this list that pissed me off because it was basically a part of my childhood yanked away from me. Banned Elemental Hero Stratos. That card is just, it's not broken. Like, I don't care what anybody says. There is a lot that you can do nowadays to counter something like Stratos. I've been playing Heroes for the past, well, pretty much since they came out. Let's see, 7th grade, I'm just going on to college. 8 years now. 8 years now that I've been playing Heroes. I think. 7 years. I could be wrong with my math, but I don't care. I don't care about the year. Stratos is not that broken. The cards that make Stratos really broken are things like Bubble Man, who sets up the OTKs right there. So being able to fact that he can search out maybe Destiny heroes, like Malicious. Those two cards, the fact that they're off the ban list pretty much like at 3, that would make him a little bit more broken. And I understand that the format is basically trying to progress itself in a direction where people are starting to play like those decks again, but you took away one card that pretty much gave an entire archetype one of its largest skill like areas of consistency. And the fact of the matter is that Stratos is an iconic card. Like, pretty much a lot of people love the hero archetype. It's one that basically just, if we ever watched a show, we all enjoyed it. And it's just something that we all learn to value and appreciate for ourselves. I'm managing right now without having Stratos in the game, but like, it's ridiculous that he got banned in the first place. I don't think he should have got banned. But you know what? Honestly, like, I'm kind of over it at this point. I'm waiting for the day where Stratos actually gets to come back to us now. And you know what? I feel like he will. I feel like Stratos is one of those cards is not in the right place. He was perfectly fine being limited to 1. If Konami wants to do something healthy for the game and actually prevent like OTKs, things like that from happening, they'll limit Stratos back, but they'll also limit Bubble Man. The OCG got that right, because Bubble Man is the one that starts the OTKs. And if you limit Bubble Man, that still keeps other decks open. Like, I mean, that's still letting decks have a chance to be able to like Muse Fusion plays, let players have fun and things like that at the competitive level. Okay, fun at the competitive level. That's another thing that like a lot of people will tend to disagree with me on, but some people just enjoy to be able to play the cards that they want, like at a competitive event. But I don't know. Trying to keep as much of my personal bias aside, being a hero player that I am, I don't think that Stratos deserves to be banned. And I've talked to a lot of my friends, most of them which pretty much don't play heroes, or some who even don't like the hero deck at all. A lot of them agree with me in the sense that banning Stratos is not the answer. If you want to hurt heroes to a point where they actually aren't going to be as good anymore, or at least like where they can keep their consistent engine but take away their power cards, take away something like Bubble Man. Take away something like Miracle Fusion. Like, just go ahead and semi-limit or limit those cards. Super Poly's a broken card. Super Poly's probably more broken than Stratos. I mean, seriously. But I don't know. You guys can all disagree with me all you want. This is my personal thoughts on it. And I'm always open to pretty much just like arguing about this, like debating this entire topic with other people. But that's just the way that I see it. And I just kind of feel like I had to say something about this because of the fact, like, you know what, the new list is coming up and everything like that. I'm thinking about making like my own wish list, like what I would ideally like to happen on the ban list. I'm not going to call it a prediction video because, again, predictions are pretty much just, it's the dumb concept, and pretty much the predictions always turn out the same, in which just Konami screws us all over in the end. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about the matter. So those are my thoughts on what's currently on the ban section of the ban list, at least for the TCG. So OCG, I feel like the OCG has a slightly better list than us. Although that honest at 2, I don't dig that at all. But hey, you know what? To each their own. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you guys think that we have a good ban list? Do you guys like what's currently on the ban section? Do you agree with maybe some of the decisions that I made, like some of the cards that I think are currently banned that deserve to be banned the way that they are? Let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed your time. This has been Jaku. Catch you guys later.